Stimmt, wir haben noch gar nicht gespeichert heute. Set Skills. Erstmal gucken, ob wir nicht schon noch ein paar neue kaufen können. Ah, ich habe nur 3 neue Hope Fragments. Also nicht wirklich. Aber habe ich nicht noch irgendeinen Skill bekommen, den ich jetzt einsetzen kann? Ich habe ja auch generell wieder ein bisschen mehr Skill Points. Silent Massage. The focus gauge recovers at a faster rate. Das ist definitiv gut. Dann kann ich noch 5 Punkte einsetzen. Increases damage to the opponent. Das finde ich auch gut. Okay. Difficulty. Ja, ist alles okay. Genau, gucken uns nochmal eben die Truth Bullets an. Mal kurz alles durchgehen. 2 victims, Ibuki Miyoda and Hiyoko Sayonji. Ibuki Miyoda's cause of death was crushed windpipe as a result of choking, no other external injuries. Hiyoko Sayonji's cause of death was bloodless due to her throat being slit by a sharp-edged tool. Piercing death was instant. There were bloodstains in the sole of Ibuki's feet. The rope used for hanging. According to Mika, there is no doubt that the cause of Ibuki's death was her hanging herself on this rope. The key to the motel room that Hiyoko was staying in was buried deep inside her kimono, so it was pretty difficult to retrieve. A thick scrap of paper that was stuck to the baton light. A black curtain at the very back of the music venue stage. It is not wide enough to reach the side of the stage. It looks like it was brought from the supermarket and not something that was originally here. The stepladder was found on the music venue stage, tipped on its side. On its left side, a slight bloodstain can be seen. A candle was found at the front of the music venue stage. It looks like the dim light seen in the surveillance camera video was actually light from this candle. A surveillance camera unit put inside the music venue for communication purposes. It's been smashed to pieces and no longer works. The AC was cranked up to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It was extremely hot inside the music venue because of that. Then there's evidence that a bloodstain was wiped off the floor of the music venue stage. Since Ibuki had no open wounds, it's believed the blood belonged to Hiyoko. A strange glob was stuck to where both music venue doors touch each other. Right up until the Monokuma announcement that morning, Mikan was with Hajime the whole time, after which she went to the hospital to check on everyone and realized that Ibuki had disappeared. When she rushed out of the hospital to search for Ibuki, she apparently met up with Fuyuhiko. Surveillance monitor video, the video that Hajime saw at the hospital. It shows a person dressed in a hospital gown wearing a hemp bag on their head as they willingly climb a stepladder toward the news. Fuyuhiko's account, after Fuyuhiko met Mika in front of the hospital steht da. They split up to search for Ibuki. They checked the movie theater in Electric Avenue, but they didn't find anyone. Apparently Fuyuhiko and Mika were only separated for a short time. Sonya's account, Hiyoko was distraught because her kimono was disheveled and she was unable to tie it on her own. That's when Sonya apparently told her about the full-length mirror and the music venue storage room. Movie's invitation ticket. The invitation ticket prepared by Monokuma. 1 ticket was passed out per person, and the date it was passed out is printed on the ticket. Monokuma's account, a Monomi tote bag that was sold at the movie theater. It's a limited item because only 1 person can buy it. Apparently you get another bag for free when you purchase it. The Wizard of Monomi, the movie that Monokuma directed. There were a total of 3 deaths in the movie. First, Monomi Scarecrow died by hanging herself. Next, Monomi Lion was pumped full of arrows. Finally, Monomi Tin Man died by getting chopped into little pieces. Gut. Los geht's. Ganz gut, das nochmal alles ins Gedächtnis zu rufen, was wir an Truth Bullets haben.
Let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial.
Und jetzt muss ich nicht mehr vorlesen. Jetzt habe ich ein bisschen Stimmpause.
During
hier.
the class trial, you will present your if you vote correctly, then only I'll punish everyone well, who cares about this boring explanation? Let's get on with it already.
I don't mind starting the trial, but I don't really have a grasp of how the case played out.
Alles klar.
You know, because I was asleep the whole time.
Even if you do grasp it, you're just gonna confuse the heck out of us, aren't you?
But Nagito's not alone. I don't really get it either.
You're fine. Your head's empty anyway.
Wie nett.
Empty head? Huh. What's wrong with that? Listen up. The emptier your head, the more dreams you can stuff inside it, you know?
Anyway, we shouldn't proceed with the trial if those
Punkt.
two can't participate in the arguments. Since he's the first witness, why don't we ask Hajime to explain the incident and the sequence of events?
Then, let's start with when we split into the hospital team and motel team because of the despair disease.
Okay.
The hospital team consisted of Nagito, Ibuki, and Akane, who were infected, and Mikan, Fuyuhiko, and me.
The other 5 in the motel team were myself, Gundam, Kazuichi, Chiaki, and Hyoko.
Spending the night at the hospital was prohibited, so Hajime and I had to sleep at our
Ich
cottages.
habe jetzt gerade erst gesehen, die Leute, die tot sind, haben ja alle so ein rosa X durchs Gesicht. Ich habe jetzt erst gesehen, dass Teru, das X bei Teru besteht aus einem Messer und einer Gabel.
I woke up at my cottage on the day the incident happened. Mikan came by to wake me up and told me that Nagito had recovered from the symptoms.
Came by to wake me up ist sehr schön umschrieben.
We immediately headed over to the hospital, and after we confirmed his recovery, I made Mikan rest in the on-call room since she hadn't slept all night, while I waited in the hospital lobby. And then, I saw the incoming signal light on the surveillance camera blinking before our scheduled time.
And then the stream failed.
When I pressed the button to turn on the monitor, what appeared on screen was a video of someone wearing a hospital gown and a hemp bag on their head, climbing a stepladder.
Mir ist das jetzt gerade erst aufgefallen und ich spiele das Spiel nicht mal zum ersten Mal. Es ist mir irgendwie bisher so entfallen.
Amazing!
Nicht entfallen, nicht
That's
aufgefallen.
such a heart-pounding story. And then what did you do, Hajime? I tried to stop them, of course. I rushed out of the hospital and ran to where the video was being recorded, the music venue. But it was too late. By the time I arrived, the person wearing the...
Oh, sorry.
I thought I should tell the others right...
By the time I arrived, the person wearing the hemp bag on their head was already hanging from the ceiling. I thought I should tell the others right away, so I headed to the motel.
Why the motel? Because it was close to the music venue. And unlike the hospital, there were more able-bodied people there. At least, that's what I thought. But the only person who came with me was Chiaki.
But I remember feeling a little relieved because not long after, we met up with Mikan and Fuyuhiko.
We were also looking for Ibuki since she disappeared from our sight.
After I rested for a bit, I started counting everything at the hospital. And then I noticed Ibuki was gone. So I sprinted out of the hospital. Coincidentally, I ran into Fuyuhiko. So I pled with him in various ways to see if he could help me out.
Various ways?
Don't say it like that and confuse people.
Yeah, look at my tits.
After I heard from those two that Ibuki disappeared, I had a feeling she was the person wearing the hemp bag. So I immediately led them to the music venue.
But the door wouldn't open. Since we had no other option, the 4 of us broke down the door. And when that happened, we didn't just find Ibuki's body. We also found Hyoko's.
Ja, ich meine, wenn ich überlege, wie eines unserer ersten Freetime-Gespräche mit Mikan darin bestand, dass sie meinte, oh Gott, tut mir leid, ich weiß nicht, wofür sie sich entschuldigt. Also sie hat sich ja immer für alles entschuldigt. Meinte dann auch irgendwie von wegen, oh, soll ich mich vielleicht nackig ausziehen für dich? Well, that happened, yeah.
And not just that. Her body was taped to a pillar.
That's when we heard the body discovery announcement. Not once, but twice in a row.
And so we decided to lower the hanged body, didn't we?
When we removed the hemp bag, just as we feared, it was Ibuki.
So that's how the case played out. Thank you. I understood it very easily.
Well, it's clear what the problem with this case is. When Hajime left the music venue, who...
Wait, how do I know anything Hajime just said is true?
Oh. Huh?
Sorry, I'm only being impartial right now. And the story I just heard is clearly suspicious.
Son of a bitch.
Hajime, if you're the only one who saw the hanging video, and the first one to discover Ibuki's body, then you could be lying as much as you want right now, right?
Lie? Why would I lie?
Obviously. So you could make us ignore what might be an inconvenient truth for you. Do you doubt me? If you're not lying, I would like you to prove it. Come on, try to prove it to me. Prove you're not the killer.
Just as Kazuichi said, Nagito is the kind of guy who will just confuse us and make matters worse. Damn it, I shouldn't have explained it to Nagito. I'm in trouble now thanks to that. Make your argument. Motel room key. Ey, nicht so schnell. Scrap of thick paper, surveillance camera unit, movies invitation ticket.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony is a lie, then the fact that Ibuki hung herself...
That would also be a lie.
I don't think I can deny that possibility. After all, Hajime is the only witness.
Why would Hajime lie?
Well, obviously because he's the killer.
Did Hajime kill both of them?
The fact that the bodies were imitating the movie means it probably is Hajime's fault.
Aha. Nein, kann nicht sein. Ich habe den Film ja jetzt erst gesehen. Ich hätte ja keinen Imitationsmord begehen können, wenn ich den Film nicht kenne. Und ich habe doch noch das Filmticket, das bestätigt, dass ich den Film erst heute gesehen habe. Und wahrscheinlich hat Nagito deswegen auch absichtlich gesagt, ich soll das lieber als Lucky Charm behalten. Alles klar.
Hajime's testimony is clearly suspicious.
If Hajime's testimony, then the fact that Ibuki...
That would also...
I don't think I can... After all...
Why would
So
Hajime...
unglaublich klug.
Obviously,
Did Hajime kill
the fact that the bodies were imitating the movie...
Weg da. Okay.
No, that's wrong! I'm not the killer! I mean, there's no way I'd be able to imitate that movie.
Genau.
Of course you're not. I already knew that.
What?
Huh? Before the incident, Hajime had never watched that movie. His invitation ticket is proof of that.
Then why did you... Why...
Each person only received one ticket, and they're marked with a stamp that shows the date and time.
Yeah, but if you know that, then...
Isn't that right, Monokuma?
Yes, no mistakes there.
Which means there's no way Hajime, who never saw the movie, could commit murders that imitated it. Or did anyone tell him what happens in the movie? Of course no one did, right?
Hold on a sec! You're the one who brought this up in the first place!
Yeah.
Nagito, what are you doing?
Well, since we're opening with your witness testimony, I thought we should solidify the foundation.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. It seems like he was trying to be an absolute ass, but... Actually, it was kind of... It was to help us, wasn't it? But it still was an ass way to do it.
It also provides a good warm-up.
Yeah, fuck you too.
What warm-up? This isn't a game, you know.
Don't get mad. I just think warming up is really important. Especially since this isn't a game.
What a waste of time. Well, I knew it would turn out like this anyway.
Now then, since we know Hajime's testimony is reliable, let us move on to the arguments.
Ich meine, ja, hat ja im Grunde dadurch jetzt geholfen, dass niemand unsere Aussage mehr anzweifelt. Die ja auch richtig ist. Wir sind der Hauptcharakter. Wir haben jetzt nicht gelogen, wir haben erzählt, was wir gesehen haben. Aber es hat natürlich tatsächlich geholfen, dass er jetzt dazu beigetragen hat, dass das jetzt niemand mehr anzweifelt. Aber es war natürlich schon eine etwas arschige Art und Weise, das zu tun.
So this means Ibuki definitely climbed the stepladder all by herself, right?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Then that seals it. Ibuki committed suicide.
If Ibuki committed suicide, then who killed Hiyoko?
A murder coincidentally occurring in the same place as a suicide. Ain't possible, huh?
I mean, possible, sure, but very unlikely.
Like I said before, it's pretty clear what the problem with this case is. The killer murdered Hiyoko while Hajime was gone. So all we gotta do is establish who could have possibly done that.
Then let's ask Hajime. How long would you say you were away from the music
Hat er
video?
nicht irgendwas von 10 Minuten
I
gesagt?
couldn't have been gone for more than 10 minutes.
Oh.
So they killed Hiyoko and taped her up within 10 minutes? There's no way that's possible.
Ich weiß nicht, ob sowas unmöglich ist. Ich habe es nie selber versucht. Einmal kurz Kehle durchschneiden, schnell dahinstellen und wie wild mit so einem Klebeband drumherum rennen.
That's why the killer stalled for time by making the music venue a closed room.
What do you mean, a closed room?
Wer weiß, ob das geht.
The killer blocked the venue door from the inside to try and keep us from entering right away.
Nicht, dass das jetzt irgendjemand ausprobieren soll. Ne?
However, that door is the only entrance to the music venue, right? If they blocked the door from the inside, the killer would not have been able to leave either.
Ja, das haben wir ja schon mal erwähnt.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Which means, when we broke down the venue door, the killer was still inside.
They were?
If that's the case, the only suspicious people are those who don't have an alibi for that time. And that's you two! Sonia and Kazuichi!
Me too?
What the hell? Why's it gotta be us?
The others all have alibis. Chiaki, Mikan, Hajime, and I all broke down the venue door together. Gundam met up with Hajime at the motel right before that. And if Akane and Nagito were laid up in the hospital, the only person that leaves is one of you.
There's another person who doesn't have an alibi. You know, Nekomaru.
Stimmt.
Me too!
Hey, why are you talking like... Huh? You're kidding, right? You're not up to something weird, are you?
Please stop making bad jokes.
Anyway, if the killer was hiding inside the venue, we should obviously doubt the people who don't have alibis.
What a wicked way of backing us into a wall! Is this his professional skill?
The killer was inside the music venue. Fuyuhiko obviously thinks so, but is that really it? Okay, ich denke, ich weiß schon, was hier nötig
The
ist.
killer was still inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have had a lock.
The lock was on the floor in front of the door.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they look like they had just rushed over.
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
Wie, mehr habe ich nicht? That person's remark contradicts the truth. I should be able to prove that with my evidence.
The killer
Whose
was still
remark?
inside the music venue. By locking the door from the inside, they tried to keep us from getting in.
It seems they were trying to stall for time.
How did they lock the door? That door should not have...
The lock was on the floor.
Are you talking about the broken drumstick?
You can use that as a bolt to lock the door. By doing that, the killer who was hiding inside waited till we gathered together and suddenly appeared.
So they look like they had just...
I have seen this in serial crime dramas.
Ich glaube, eine Idee habe ich.
The killer was still inside the music venue.
Oh, verdammt.
By locking the door from the inside. No, that's
Okay.
wrong.
Wait a sec. There's also a possibility that the door was locked from the outside.
From the outside? How?
There was a semi-transparent glob stuck to the venue door. Maybe that's what they used.
Semi-transparent glob. Like rubber, maybe?
It wasn't rubber at all. That semi-transparent blob was probably rubber. Nachdem alle sagt, it wasn't rubber at all. Glue.
I see! That semi-transparent glob must have been glue.
Glue?
Yeah, I think so too. It had a firm, gel-like chewiness, and I could smell workshop chemicals the moment I put it in my mouth.
That's something you don't hear every day.
Based on all that, I'm certain it was glue.
I didn't know glue was edible.
That's because it fucking isn't.
I believe it is not something one typically eats.
That glue was only applied to the areas where both doors touched. By pouring it in the gaps of the closed door, it must have sealed the venue door from the outside.
Ja, könnte man machen, ne? Von draußen.
And thanks to that, a glob of glue was left where the door was stuck. Yep, it fits perfectly. But if you just stick them together with glue, you'd be able to break down the door easily, you know?
That doesn't really matter. The killer only did that to make us think the door was locked from the inside.
What'd you say?
First of all, didn't that drumstick we found seem really obvious? Almost unnaturally so? It was so obvious that it makes more sense to think the killer placed it as a diversion.
Nach dem Motto, oh, guckt mal, hier, ein zerbrochener Schlagzeug. Wie heißen die Dinge nochmal? Drumstick halt. Das war es natürlich, was die Tür zugemacht hat.
Are you saying the drumstick was a trap the killer set on purpose? Then I totally fell for that fucking trap.
If what we have discussed just now is true.
Apologize to Miss Sonia and me. However, you're not allowed to slice open your stomach this time.
Just a finger is enough.
In a quarrel, both sides are to blame. That's why it's better to just have no sides at all.
What kind of... What?
So, during the 10 minutes Hajime left the venue, the killer murdered Hiyoko and created a closed space?
And they also taped her up after killing her, right?
Was ist eigentlich mit Byakuya passiert, wo du gerade seine Knochen besprichst? Ist er jetzt irgendwo begraben? Wer weiß, wissen wir noch nicht, oder? In Danganronpa 1 haben wir irgendwann am Ende diese diese Kühlkammer mit für Leichen gefunden.
Even quick work has limits.
Oh, what unimaginable speed for a slowpoke like me.
If they couldn't have done it while Hajime was away from the venue, they must have done it earlier than that.
Earlier?
But when Hajime got to the venue, only Ibuki's body was there, right?
And when you went back with everyone else, Hiyoko's body was there too, right? But it's possible that the body was just revealed at that time, when Hiyoko was actually killed earlier.
Just revealed?
Of course, the body wasn't revealed on its own. The killer did that too. Here, I have proof.
That scrap of paper. Is that what we found in the baton lighting at the music venue?
Okay, Baton ist richtig als Aussprache.
That's right, but just what is this scrap anyway?
That scrap that was stuck on the baton lighting in the music venue. Now, I should be able to figure out what it is. It's a scrap of paper. Was soll ich jetzt beschreiben? Wallpaper? Passt. Oh Gott, wie ging das nochmal? So und dann so? Ja. Okay. Oh, ich bin so gut, ich bin so klug. Guckt euch das mal an. Oh Gott. Brauchen P. Brauchen P. Ah. Das ist aber auch langsam schwieriger als am Anfang. Nein! Das wollte ich nicht drücken. Braucht noch ein P. Danke. Noch ein E. Ah. Oh Gott. Und noch ein R. Im letzten Moment. Wallraper. Nein. Was soll denn ein Wallraper sein? No.
Scrap.
Just no.
Isn't it part of the wallpaper in the storage room?
Wallraper.
In the music venue storage room, there should have been black wallpaper that's the same color as that scrap. There was also a tear along the edge of the wallpaper, wasn't there?
Auch gesehen
If
vorhin.
So, you're right. You overlay the scrap that was caught on the lighting with the tear in the wallpaper. See? It fits perfectly.
I wouldn't call that perfect
See?
even.
So the scrap that was caught on the baton lighting was originally part of the wallpaper.
And what's wrong with that? Does it have something to do with Hiyoko's body disappearing?
A mere nobody like me isn't important enough to answer that. But if you guys were exceptional enough to identify that scrap of paper, you can figure this out easily.
That scrap of paper stuck to the baton lighting is part of that wallpaper I found in the storage room. Is it connected to the sudden appearance of Hiyoko's body? If I trace it back from there, the answer should become clear. Alright, let's give this a try. Was kommt denn jetzt? Oh, darf ich jetzt wieder Snowboard fahren? Moment, wie geht denn die Steuerung nochmal? Vorne, bremsen. So kann ich springen. Okay. Ab geht's. Gute Nacht. Auf Wiedersehen, Streamqualität. Wird jetzt bestimmt wieder total furchtbar aussehen. Ich immer noch keine Ahnung habe, was ich da an Einstellungen ändern muss, damit so schnelle Szenen nicht total verpixelt sind. Why did Hiyoko's body suddenly appear at the crime scene? It was hidden. Ich muss mal irgendwann ein Video davon machen und das in so einem Forum oder so posten, dass man mal irgendjemand sagen kann, was bei meinen Einstellungen oder was irgendwie falsch ist, dass das so verpixelt wirkt. Bin mir ziemlich sicher, so einfach ist es nicht. What did the killer use to hide her body? Und dann brannte er für immer in den Flammen seines eigenen Verstandes. Wallpaper. Oh yeah. Oh Gott, nicht runterfallen. Ich glaube, in den letzten Fällen wird das noch verrückter. Oh. Vorsicht. Okay, question 3. How did the killer hide her body with the wallpaper? They've covered the pillar. Oh Gott, das war knapp. Musik ist cool. Mal wieder. Yeah! Why did Hiyoko's body suddenly appear at the crime scene? It was hidden. What did the killer use to hide her body? The wallpaper. The killer hide her body with the wallpaper. They covered the pillar.
It's all coming together! I got it! Hiyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar.
Crazy.
So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Hiyoko's body was already there.
Huh.
However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Eigentlich ziemlich coole Idee.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
Ah, ich meine, das ist ja auch eine gute Taktik so, ne? Weil die Leiche, die da von der Bühne baumelt, ist natürlich dann so ein bisschen in der Lage, einen vollkommen abzulenken. Und dann achtet man nicht unbedingt so sehr darauf, ist der Pfeiler da eigentlich genauso dick wie der andere?
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
The baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar. So using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers is to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hiyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music video.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper, and because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
The killer must have been in a hurry. Their plan took too long. Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off, since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone.
Ja, das ist wahrscheinlich immer noch einfacher, definitiv, als jemandem die Kehle aufzuschneiden und ihn dann an den Pfeiler zu tapen und dann noch das Blut wegzumachen und so.
They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
Sie den Film auch nicht gesehen.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
Masterpiece my ass.
Hey! Don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
Ich glaube, das ist ihm ziemlich scheißegal.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
I don't eat mothballs. I just enjoy looking at them.
I knew it! There are so many similarities, it must have been intentional.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hiyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
Echt? Ich dachte, der wurde von Pfeilen erschossen.
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
But why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations isn't that difficult to figure out.
Is it? The reason the killer imitated the two victims in that movie... I should be able to explain that now. Because they like movies. Kann ich das auswählen? Ich will das mal eben auswählen. Maybe the killer committed imitation murder because they really like movies. Right, the Wizard of Bonometer for 50 is like the Citizen Kuma of films. That's obviously not it.
Crap!
Okay, Entschuldigung. Natürlich to mix up the killing order.
I see!
The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
Then Hiyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
Ich meine, darauf lief das doch jetzt hinaus, oder?
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
Nobody cried and nobody...
I'm not even crying.
Or begging.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
Kann er nicht einfach ganz normal sagen, dass er es wissen will?
What a jerk!
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying.
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed. That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the sylph's feather.
The fuck is a sylph?
Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
Idiots.
Man, he's being annoying again.
Seriously, Mann, Kazuichi sagt mal was Vernünftiges.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed. How can a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know something like that?
Ein Suguha war ein Sylph in Alo, also irgendeine heiße Elfentante.
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
He was doing something that was only possible if her feet were on the floor.
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
Ich glaube, worauf sie hinaus will, ist, dass sie Blut an den Füßen hatte und das geht ja nur, wenn sie durch Blut durchläuft. Nicht unbedingt, ich meine, man kann auch Blut an ihre Füße dran spritzen, während sie schon tot von der Decke hängt, aber ich glaube, darauf will Chiaki zumindest gerade hinaus. Rationalerweise. Das ist eine schöne Art, Suguha zu beschreiben. Anyway, if this continues, we're just gonna talk in circles. I think it's best if we clarify Ibuki's status when Hiyoko was killed. Blood on the Souls. Ich wette, das ist das Motel Room Keys, Scrap of Thick Paper, Candle, Step Ladder. Nee, was soll ich denn damit?
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
Yep. Das war
I
einfach.
agree with that.
Das war einfach. Bestimmt kommt jetzt gleich irgendeiner
Just
und
as Sonia said, Ibuki stepped on something.
macht dieses, wie heißt es noch, wo ich mit dem Schwert Sachen durchhauen muss.
That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries.
Then it's Hiyoko's blood.
Hiyoko's only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. and she died almost instantly, right?
If Ibuki stepped on her blood...
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hiyoko was killed.
Don't underestimate the power of the evil eye.
Gott sei Dank, das war zu einfach. Da muss jetzt irgendwas Schweres noch danach kommen.
Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line.
That's how people normally talk.
But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
Genau. Mach das Gesicht und 3 Punkte. Was anderes würde mir da auch nicht mehr einfallen.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status. However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Einfach mal einen aufs Maul. Okay, was kommt jetzt? Moment, rope used for hanging, motor room keys, scrap of thick paper, stepladder, candle, stepladder wahrscheinlich. Oder smudge on the floor. Steht doch immer noch auf Blut. Da muss man erst mal anhören, was er sagt.
Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Ah, okay, ich weiß schon. Das wollte ich. Ja, ich weiß schon, ich weiß schon.
Blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Ja, wurde nur weggewischt. Das ist einfach.
The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Don't say such foolish things! You don't have proof of that at all!
Yes, I do. You look closely. There's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding.
Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far.
Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
The time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file, just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now. Fine then. But regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Seriously.
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time, too?
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
Huh, suicide?
The same as always. You have to vote for who the killer is. Think about it. A suicide means you've killed the most important existence of all, yourself.
Hatten wir ja schon mal im ersten Teil.
Unfortunately, that means there's no Blacken to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Why me?
Nagito, what do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko, and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
That's totally impossible! Then she never would have killed her to begin with!
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right? After Hajime saw the hanged body, The sudden appearance of Hiyoko's body soon after means...
dass der Mörder noch lebendig sein musste.
The killer had to be alive at that time.
Genau.
Then she was alive. When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead. If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
She hanged herself. Remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging. Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
I see. So that means there's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What the heck?
There's still one more issue on my mind.
Now what?
If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, just what was that video Hajime saw?
Huh?
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right? Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something. So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
So, an alibi. Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi. Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place. But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function, right?
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Das haben nur die anderen Kameras, die er in Sonjas Badezimmer installiert hat.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
Kurz danach kam noch das Monokuma-Announcement.
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement. And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time?
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
Okay. Puh, oh Gott.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed!
The murder supposedly happened before and during the morning announcement. The person who doesn't have an alibi for that time...
We can exclude...
Hilfe? Durchgehen, Mikens Account... Right up into the morning... Free go. After freaking the rules, split out search for Ibuki. Check the
And what about the
hiermit
others?
vielleicht?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel...
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then...
Nee, keine Ahnung. Ist einfach mal aufgeschossen, aber das macht für mich jetzt auch keinen Sinn.
Crap!
Irgendjemand eine Idee?
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't... What about you guys? I was where I was supposed to be. My own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi...
Keine Ahnung, ich habe einfach mal irgendwas irgendwo draufgeschossen. Bin ich ja mal gespannt.